Hey everyone, I hope that you are doing well and that wherever you are, you're getting a little taste of the fall weather. Fall is my absolute favorite time of year in Indiana. I love watching the leaves change, and I really like that crisp weather where you can wear, a sweatshirt and a pair of jeans and just go out and enjoy the day. So it seems like we're having one of those days here in Carmel, and I am just very pleased with it. I don't have my coffee with me today. I already drank it, but in case you're wondering, I had bulletproof coffee. You should look up a recipe. It's kind of gross. I love to hate it, but it's something that I generally have most days. Either way, I digress. I wanted to talk today about how to find articles. I've gotten a couple of emails from people who are feeling lost. And so I know that your research proposal is a large and intimidating project. And so I just wanted to walk you through how I find articles on the topics that interest me. And there's no right or wrong way to do this, but sometimes I feel a little bit like a detective. So first off, I added a little tab on the left-hand navigation panel under the Student Supports and Resources called Library Resources. Under this tab, you'll find two different sets of videos from the library. So the first is just very general, tells you how to use CardCat and OneSearch, and there's a bunch of these little mini videos that were put together by the librarians at Ball State in order to help you navigate the Ball State library system. The second one they made specifically for our department. It's a set of mini videos about how to do special education research and some of the journals that you might want to look at if you're doing research in the field of special education. So I think that these will be helpful for you to look at if you're having difficulty navigating the Ball State systems. The other thing that I wanted to point out to you is that the library has a chat with a librarian feature. I use this feature all the time when I'm having difficulty finding a article or a topic. It's kind of like the old school AOL instant messaging chat, and during specified hours you can just chat with a librarian. You can say, hey, I want to find this article, but for the life of me, I can't get it to pull up the PDF text. Or you can ask them about how to use OneSearch, or what journals to consult. And I have found this service, even as faculty, to be immensely helpful. So I hope that you use it when you need it and that you find it helpful too. Let me know what you think. The other thing that I wanted to let you know about that I have found useful is interlibrary loan. You should never be paying for an article. Sometimes students will tell me, well, I found this article and it matches my research question and it's like spot on, but it's $39. And then this other article is $59. So what am I going to do? I'm not going to spend like $700 on articles. You shouldn't need to do that. So when you find an article that you want, if we don't have it online at Ball State and we have it, in the library stacks, you can get a copy of it sent to you because you're a distance ed student. Or if it's a journal that we don't carry, so for a while, I don't even know if we carry it yet, but there's this journal, Research in Developmental Disabilities, that I like to publish in, and I like to look at what they have going on. But for a while, we didn't have it at the library. You can use interlibrary loan. Interlibrary loan is wonderful. If you don't know about it, you simply fill out a form online at the library's website, and you tell the article, you give all the information that you have about the article that you want, and then they find it and they send it to your inbox. There have been a couple of situations where I've wanted a really obscure or dated article that I saw in a reference someplace, and they weren't able to find it for me. But most like mainstream sort of current articles, they're able to find, and it's usually within about 48 hours. Now, keep in mind, sometimes you get the article pretty quickly, but other times it can take a couple of weeks. So, this is why it's really important to plan out the articles that you're going to include in your research proposal pretty early. So, some other tips that I have about accessing articles is I love Google Scholar. When I have to do a broad search to see what's out there, I can go to Google Scholar and type in and see kind of what's going on and get a sense of the articles. I find that this is easier to use than Cardcat or OneSearch. And then what I do is when I find an abstract that I want, I go and look it up in the Ball State Library's catalog so that I can actually get the PDF and I don't have to pay for it. Um, I did this recently. I was reviewing an article for a journal and they were looking at uh, stress and direct care staff workers, and I wanted to see what's been done and what's out there already with this topic because I wasn't that familiar with it. And so I was able to just type a few key terms in Google Scholar. My advice is to be as broad as possible. So I would do stress and direct care staff or direct care staff perception of stress in the workplace or burnout issues for direct care staff, and lots of different things pop up. When you use the keyword "and," uh, it will require that you have both or all of the terms that you included come up in the search. So then once I find it in Google Scholar, I'll go, like I said before, and look it up at Ball State. So, once you find a couple of articles on the topic that interest you, make sure that you look at the references that those authors included because chances are they're going to have cited other similar articles, and that's how you get a sense of what's been done. And so, I always look at the references for the articles that I pull. It's one of the most important parts of the article for me, just to get a sense, again, of what's been done and where other people are publishing. The final tip that I have for you is if you have a topic that someone has evaluated as part of a thesis or a dissertation, consider using ProQuest and pulling up the thesis or the dissertation. Now, you can't use theses and dissertations in your final research proposal, but when you're writing a thesis or a dissertation, chances are the person had to do a very comprehensive review of the existing literature. So, the article critique that you're reading this year was actually my thesis. And we cut it down to fit into manuscript format, but in the original form that it was submitted, that document about the graph performance feedback and the verbal performance feedback was actually 283 pages. And that's because I had a 60-page literature review that went over all of the literature about teacher training and performance feedback and academic interventions and treatment integrity. And so, if you look at a thesis or a dissertation, it might give you a broader sense of what's been done and give you additional references. But keep in mind, again, I want to stress that theses and dissertations are not acceptable articles to include as one of your 15 required references. And you have to be very careful that you're not plagiarizing what someone else says because it'll come up on our plagiarism detection software. And also take what you're reading in a thesis or a dissertation with a grain of salt. Not all theses or dissertations are publishable. Some have big problems with them and they cannot be published. So be cautious about what you're reading. And keep in mind that theses and dissertations are often very, very, very long. So it can be difficult for you to weed through exactly what was done. Think about if you had to do an article critique on my 283-page thesis instead of the what was submitted to the Journal of Applied School Psychology. My final recommendation for finding articles on a topic is to look for a meta-analysis or a systematic review. Now, these cannot be included as one of your 15 references, similar to theses and dissertations, but it can give you a good idea of what's been done. So, I have a side research interest that's emerging related to physical activity in individuals with autism spectrum disorder. I know way less about this than I do training and supervision issues, and so I wanted to familiarize myself with the literature, and I was able to pull up a couple of systematic reviews. And in a systematic review, there's often a table that provides you with articles on all of the published articles on the topic during a specific period. I just wrote a meta analysis that we submitted for review, and we wound up identifying 74 articles. So now these articles are all listed in one table. It's all on the same related topic about training teachers to use behavior specific praise. And so if you can find a systematic review or a meta analysis similar to your topic, it might be a way to identify a lot of related articles. I hope that this video was helpful to you. If you need any more assistance in finding articles on your topic, shoot me an email and let me know. I'm happy to set up a time to meet with you to give you some ideas. Thanks. Have a good day.